Hey everybody, Kyle Guarneros here with Highlands and Spine. Today I'm going to be talking about the lungs, and it's a good time of year to be talking about the lungs because it's the fall. If you are not familiar with Oriental medicine, every organ that we have corresponds to a different time of year, and the lungs correspond to the fall. There's a lot of good reasons for that I'm not going to get into right now, but the important thing to understand is that during the fall, our lungs are more susceptible to being injured and more susceptible to being invaded by external pathogenic factors. So it's a good time of year to protect our lungs. It's a good time of year to do things to strengthen our lungs. So I want to give you guys a couple of tools that you can use to strengthen your lungs on your own. The first thing that I want to tell you guys about is an herbal formula. It comes in a tincture form, and you can pick this up at Sprouts. That's where I usually pick it up. But I think you can pick it up at some other places, probably like Pharmaca, maybe Whole Foods, something like that. The product is called Deep Lung, and it's made by a company called Wish Garden. They are located up in Boulder, so that's cool. And yeah, this formula is probably one of my favorite lung formulas. It's not even a Chinese herbal formula, which is what I usually use. But this one, the reason why I like it so much is because it is very suitable for a dry climate like we have here in Colorado. For years, I used to, in the fall, I would catch a cold, and it would kind of turn into this long-term dry hacking cough. And what was going on was there was like dry phlegm that was lodged in my lungs that was just stuck there, not getting out. And what this formula does is, for one, it opens up the airways in the lungs and brings more blood circulation into the lungs. But also it kind of moistens the lungs a little bit, and that kind of helps that dry phlegm to get dislodged, and then you can hack it out. Some people think that's gross, but I find it to be satisfactory. So yeah, a super helpful formula, Deep Lung. I have no affiliation with Wish Garden or anything. It's just some information I wanted to share with you guys. You can use it. You can use it in high dosages if you're in an acute situation, or you can use it in a low dosage if you just want to strengthen your lung function. So there is that. The other thing that I'd like to mention to you guys is a book that I started reading about a year ago. It's called The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. I think that's how you say his name, McKeown. I hope. And this book is really interesting. This guy is really sharp. He did a lot of research on breathing, and he gives you a bunch of different exercises that you can use to help improve your breathing habits, improve your breathing function. And just one little piece of information from here that I'll share with you guys is it's really important to breathe through your nose rather than your mouth. When we breathe through our nose, there is nitric oxide that is released in our nasal passageways and inhaled down into our lungs. And the nitric oxide helps to dilate the passageways in your lungs, as well as to dilate the blood vessels. So it's going to help to better oxygenate your blood and the rest of your body. And that's really so beneficial in so many ways. Breathing goes overlooked so often. People tend to, over time, just develop really poor breathing habits. It really affects their entire well-being and their health in many ways they just don't even understand. That's one of the things our chiropractors are really good at here at Highlands and Spine, is they always are assessing people's breathing behaviors, their breathing patterns, their breathing functions, and training everybody, basically retraining everybody how to breathe properly. And so yeah, check this book out, The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. All right. The last thing I want to mention about the lungs real quick as they relate to Oriental medicine is that the emotion that is related to the lungs is grief. And so if someone is going through a significant grieving process, then it might possibly drain their lung energy and make them more susceptible to respiratory issues. Just might make them feel super fatigued, because our lung energy has a lot to do with how we feel energy-wise overall. So I have found this to be applicable in clinic. I've had a good number of people who I've worked with who either suffered a recent loss, or just, they just came to see me after they suffered a real significant loss, and their lung pulse will be super weak, and they'll usually be pretty wiped out. They'll be exhausted, because grieving is exhausting. And so I just want to mention this, because if you or anyone you know is going through a grieving process, working with an Oriental medicine practitioner can actually be super helpful. It's not like you have to talk about it. It's not like you have to figure anything out. But they can work on strengthening your lung function, which is just going to help you make it through the process. It's not going to make the grieving any easier, but it's going to help give you the strength that you need to make it through that process. So I just wanted to mention that about the lungs, and I hope that you found some of this information helpful. And I just want to encourage everybody to be proactive about taking care of their health and cultivating their health. It's a long-term game. It's not just a one and done type of thing. It's a lifelong type of thing. Do that for yourself, all right? Thank you for watching, and have a fabulous day. Thanks, guys. Bye.